All right, let's talk about something that keeps our entire legal system from collapsing into chaos. Seriously, we're going to dive into two principles that are like the traffic signals of the courthouse, the law's very own pause and stop buttons.
Just imagine this for a second. You go to court, you win your case, and you breathe a sigh of relief. But then, a week later, you get sued again for the exact same thing, by the exact same person. It would be a never-ending nightmare, right? So what's to stop that from happening?
Well, thankfully, the law is way ahead of us on this. Tucked away in the Civil Procedure Code are two incredibly powerful rules. Think of them as gatekeepers, whose only job is to prevent this kind of madness and keep things orderly.
And here they are, the stars of our show. Section 10, which gives us a doctrine called Res Sub Judice, and Section 11, which gives us Res Judicata. Now I know, the names sound a little intimidating, but trust me, what they do is brilliantly simple.
You know, the cool thing is, the Latin names basically give the whole game away. Res Sub Judice literally means a matter under consideration. It's happening now. On the other hand, Res Judicata means a matter decided. It's already done. And that, right there, is the fundamental difference we're going to unpack.
So let's start with our first gatekeeper, Section 10. The easiest way to think about Res Sub Judice is as the legal system's pause button. It's all about managing things when you've got similar lawsuits running at the same time.
Okay, so here's the deal. If there's already a lawsuit pending, and then a second lawsuit gets filed about the same issue with the same people, the court hits pause. It stays the trial of that second suit. It doesn't throw it out. It just says, hold on, let's wait for the first case to finish. Why? To stop two different judges from making two totally different decisions on the exact same problem.
So when does this pause button get pressed? Well, there's a simple checklist. First, you need two lawsuits. Check. They've got to involve the same parties. Check. And they have to be about the same core issue. Check. But here's the most important part. The first lawsuit has to still be pending. It can't be over yet. If you tick all four of those boxes, bam, the second trial gets put on hold.
All right, so if Res Sub Judice is the polite pause button, then Res Judicata, well, that's the giant, unmissable red stop sign. This one is all about finality.
And this is where everything changes. Res judicata kicks in after a case is completely over and a final judgment has been made. It doesn't just pause a new lawsuit, it totally bars it. It prevents it from ever getting started. The court essentially says, look, we've been there, done that. This issue is settled. You don't get another bite at the apple.
Now, the checklist for this stop sign is pretty similar, but with one massive difference. You need a previous lawsuit that is already decided. The core issue? Same. The parties? Same. But the key is that the issue was actually heard and a final decision was made. If all that is true, that door is slammed shut for good.
Okay, so we've met our two gatekeepers. One gently pauses the action, and the other brings it to a screeching halt. Now let's put them head-to-head to really see how they control the flow of justice. Honestly, here's probably the easiest way you'll ever remember this. Think of Res Sub Judice as a yellow light. It's a warning. It says, hey, slow down, wait, there's another case up ahead. But Res Judicata? That's the red light. It's not a suggestion, it's an absolute command. Stop, do not proceed. This road is closed.
This table just nails the differences. Look at the stage. Section 10 is for when a suit is pending. Section 11 is for after it's been decided. Now look at the nature. A stay is just a procedural pause, but a bar, that's a substantive block. It takes away your right to even bring the case. And that leads to the effect. One suit is just put on hold, while the other is thrown out completely.
So, if we boil it all down to its absolute core, it's this simple. Section 10 says you can't have this trial right now. It stays it. Section 11 says you can't have this trial ever. It bars it. It's a small difference in wording with a huge difference in power.
And you might be asking, why do they do these different things? Well, they have slightly different goals. The main point of Section 10 is to avoid the awkward situation of having two courts give two opposite rulings on the same facts. But the goal of Section 11 is much bigger. It's to make sure that litigation actually ends. It provides closure.
So why should we care about all this, about these two fancy Latin phrases? Because without them, our justice system just wouldn't work. These aren't just some dusty old rules. They're vital principles that keep the whole thing running smoothly.
At the end of the day, both of these gatekeepers are working towards the same things. They stop the courts from wasting time on issues that have already been looked at, they protect people from the harassment of being sued over and over, and by doing all that, they give us all a sense of stability and certainty in our rights.
And really, it all comes down to this one powerful idea. It's a core legal belief that for society to work, disputes have to have an endpoint. You just can't fight forever. In Res Judicata, that big red stop sign is the ultimate symbol of that very principle.
So there you have it. The pause button and the stop button. Two simple concepts that prevent total legal anarchy. But it does leave you with a bigger question to chew on, doesn't it? In any system, how do we balance that desire for perfect justice with the very real need to just make a decision and move on? That's the tightrope these two rules walk every single day. Thanks for joining me.